You're listening to Four Guys, One Film. What are you laughing at?
George's bitch ass.
All right, guys.
This podcast is going to have a lot of hate.
Okay? It's going to be a lot of hate.
A lot of hate.
A lot of loudness.
A lot of negativity.
A lot of Lynch.
A lot of opinions.
Okay.
This is going to be the first movie in a long time where we just haven't been able to watch it and review it on the same day.
Yeah, we're here a week later after watching David Lynch's Blue Velvet.
I'm upset.
What are you upset about? I mean, this is a beautiful Americana film right here. Okay,
it's fucking eerie and creepy as shit, bro. To be honest, like it's creepy.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know what? I'm kind of glad that you guys have these opinions.
But it's not like a creepy in a good way. Like, oh shit, I'm gonna get scared. Nah, this is creepy. I'm like, this guy's one's a fucking pedophile.
Wait, who's the pedophile?
The fucking main
mommy.
Yeah.
All right, wait. Let me.
Mommy, I wanna fuck.
Baby wanna fuck.
And he's abusing, like physically and psychologically, this poor woman, and she kidnaps her child.
The crazy part is that none of that was in the script. He just said that he was into that.
He's like,
wait.
Dennis Hopper was a
don't
fucking
cut.
Freak.
Well, I mean,
he's like, let me just spitball here.
To anybody that's listening and they've never heard of Blue Velvet and they've never heard of David Lynch,
good, keep it that way. Never watched that shit. That shit was weird.
Yeah. If you don't like the weird stuff, don't look into this. If you love the weird stuff, you better go balls deep.
This is a discretionary tale right now. Before you, like, if you're gonna watch a David Lynch movie, it's gonna be fucking weird.
Because David Lynch is known for his very surreal, dreamlike films that make almost no sense to the average
I like Lost Highway. That was surreal.
Well,
weird,
we'll get into that.
But it wasn't like anywhere like this.
Well, you know, it's funny because on the surface, Blue Velvet is pretty straightforward. Because this is just about a regular regular kid who finds a severed ear and looks
just
into,
like me yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a casual occurrence.
Yeah. And he just decides to kind of go into this. It's like, where did this ear come from? And through this journey, he kind of sees that there's this weird underbelly, like just some weird shit going on in this, like, you know, quote unquote perfect little town. You know, and he meets some crazy characters like Frank.
No minorities. It's fucking crazy.
Zero.
Well,
actually,
1960s.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, where's the diversity hire? Jesus Christ.
The kid, the main kid.
He was like, there was one Italian.
Was his name Jeffrey?
Yeah,
Jeffrey Beaumont, right? He was working with that blind guy.
That's, I thought it said it's not a minority.
I mean, that's a different kind of.
Oh, you're talking about the hardware store,
Yeah, the hardware store.
They were like, what can minorities amount to at this day and age? They can be clerks at a hardware store.
Yeah, in like the 1980s. In the 1980s. But yeah, I mean,
make manager one day.
I mean, yes, guys, it is a weird movie because you see a lot of violence against a woman. You see some very perverted characters. You see some.
But that's not the
some
issue.
crazy people.
I'm
okay with that.
Woman isn't my problem.
No, Gator's like, that's what I enjoyed about it. Now let's talk about what I disliked.
No. It's because like that's
she got away.
No, because you can use all those elements to tell a fucking movie. You get to tell a story, right?
Right.
But I feel like there was like. He just did it just to be fucking weird. Okay, it wasn't even like, oh, I'm telling a story through this. It was just like, all this weird shit's happening. Let me illustrate all this shit.
No, I don't
totally
think disagree. I don't think it was like just
I
fucking.
I think it's very purposeful.
Straight, debauchery for no reason. Yeah. I think it did have an overall meaning that like is just the good, the evil, and how there's a slippery slope in between. But I didn't like how it was depicted. To be honest with you, I do see that the message is there. Personally, I was not a fan. I did not enjoy it,
and I think that's okay because. Obviously, you're uncomfortable with what you saw.
Yeah,
like this is not a normal story or a normal film. To you, you just don't see how these pieces fit together. Right?
I just didn't like the execution. Like I could see how all these pieces would fit if the movie was better written, actors were okay, and I think just
first of all we got Dennis Hopper in here.
That's what I said. He was.
We got Kyle MacLachlan. We got Laura Dern.
Laura Dern's crying ass.
And we got Isabella Rossellini, who's legendary actress.
Also crying was ass.
I thought she was incredible in this.
Weren't they all kind of in the beginning of their stages though? When this film
half of them were like 3/4 of the way into their stages. I don't
really.
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper was already old.
Yeah. Dennis Hopper, he already did Easy Rider, obviously, maybe 10 years before this. Colin McLaughlin, definitely rising Star-Lord during the same thing.
Yeah.
And Isabella Rossellini, she's a Nepo baby. Her parents.
Yeah, so it's just like some of them were pretty sad. There was a good mix-up of like who could act.
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just the acting was okay. It was just I feel like the execution wasn't there. I just the way it was written wasn't there. I feel like it was like okay, it's doing too much in the subtle nuances factor. Like okay, like you really got to think through this fucking movie, which is fine if the movie had actually played into the topics it was trying to illustrate better.
This movie just wasn't fucking pretty.
It wasn't pretty.
I hate to say that, but
it was too raw for me.
You love it raw.
No. The thing is that like there's a way there's a way to depict this type of like violence and debauchery and like, and then this was just like too in your face. Like you can just fucking insinuate to it
real
rather than. No, because it's like I've seen so many other better ways where it's like they don't have to depict the actual violence on screen.
But you know that was kind of crazy.
I think the shock factor that he was going for, just like really try to I think he was just like, I'm gonna try to like separate myself from other people, and I'm gonna be really like captivating, very like in your fucking face. Which again, it could be great, and when you do it with those type of like subjects, it has to be done well.
You know, I kind of feel that direction is a bit refreshing because he's not afraid to show you what's what. Because like this is reality. Like it's not. I'm not saying that these situations are like, oh, this happens like right now, but similar things happen. You know, women are abused. There are crazy psychopaths out there, and there is weird stuff going on that you don't know about.
You know, this movie was crazy to think about, like how it portrayed like PTSD and trauma in general too. Like the woman, you know, she changed to the point where she now was craving the abuse. Like she was like, hit me. And you could see every time she got hit, she would smile and like it felt good to her.
It's like when I hit George.
Yeah,
right.
It's like Stockholm syndrome.
Exactly.
You just gotta
honestly,
love your abuser.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, he came a little bit right now.
Right.
He loves him.
Not yet. Imagine.
But
who's next?
But the idea that like it shows that, you know, sometimes like these movies only show like the little bits of trauma and shit, and then they move on. Like they don't show like how trauma can impact over extended period of times and like shape your psyche.
Yeah, I think that's cool. The thing here. It lingers on the trauma. Like when you see Frank beat up what's her name, Dorothy, right? Mm-hmm. Like you see Jeffrey still like staring at her through the closet, and you know I think maybe in a typical movie, you know, you'd move away from that, and because it's too uncomfortable, right? But we still keep watching. But in a way, I think David Lynch is kind of like a genius because Jeffrey represents us in a way because he's just a regular guy who's falling into this thing, and you know all of a sudden we're seeing the world through his eyes, and you know we're looking through the closet just like him, and so we are just like him.
Yeah, he's just your run of the mill pedophile.
Yeah.
You know,
wait, what makes him a pedophile?
Well, I'm sorry.
He was like 27,
dating a fucking 16, 17-year-old,
and then
she was 18,
and then he's just fucking peeping Tom over there, hiding in a woman's closet for evidence.
Okay, look, he was 20.
He's just like us.
He's 25, dating a 17-year-old girl, and the girl explicitly said, "I have a fucking boyfriend, creep." And he's like, you know what? Nah, it's cool. It's not like that. Fuck is they start kissing and making out, and then he's like, and she's like, oh, "I love you."
Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, whatever." Baby.
He said it back. No, he said it back. He said, "I love you too," and then he fucked the other girl.
Right.
That same day.
He's just like us.
But I think
maybe George. I don't know.
I think
it's a mistake.
Alex is the one making the comparison.
It's a mistake to watch a David Lynch film and look at it objectively because his films are not on the surface at all. Like like obviously he's dating somebody who's like slightly younger than him. He's like 2 times her, this and that.
That's
but
right. He's like 10 years apart, buddy.
I don't think it's 10 years.
They said he was 25. She was 17.
They said that?
Yeah.
That's disgusting. But look, like it's not about what it, you know, actually is on the surface. It's about like the mood, the feeling, what it's trying to portray.
No, I get
that,
but there's so many other ways of portraying it. This leaves nothing to the imagination.
But why would you?
Like the scenes of graphic violence are like they linger, and I'm like, this did not need to be a fucking 5-minute scene.
Disturbing.
Like Jesus Christ,
and you know what's crazy?
Up.
This is super tame compared to like some other stuff out there. It's very tame.
And like they took 20 minutes, like in the first 20 minutes, just where the guy picks up the ear.
Right.
Like that was like a big waste of time. I'm like, okay, like
I was gonna mention this. That's where I don't agree. This movie is extremely unrelatable.
Look how that's what bugs him.
It's a huge.
He spent 10 minutes picking up a fucking
looking
ear.
at the
Okay,
ear.
Van Gogh.
But
God damn it.
Let me say that Isaac You know, he walks by a fucking park. You know, he's strolling around looking at 17-year-old girls.
Fuck you, asshole.
You're in your mid-20s.
And he
it's
finds
okay.
an ear. You know what Isaac, the big-ass brown fucking person, doesn't do? Is pick up an ear and go to the cops. Because the first thing that they're going to do is say...
He didn't pick it up with his hands.
Where did you get this?
No, he picked it up with his
Yeah,
hands.
Where did you get this
put
ear,
it in a
brown man?
baggie?
He still picked it up with his hands, asshole. What do you mean he didn't pick it up?
But only
Well-
one hand because his right hand was occupied.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, like I said, people of color, they don't apply to this. It's like horror movies. They're like, they're screaming that way. Got it. Turn around and go the other way.
What does that have to do with anything?
What I'm saying is, like, this movie isn't relatable in the sense of, like, Jeffrey was just like, I gotta solve this mystery. I gotta solve this murder. And it's just like,
Right.
Yeah, we see crime. We're like, nah, I'm good.
I'm gonna
fam.
get blamed. They're like, I need to get away.
I see what you guys are saying, but you're approaching it like totally wrong, because it's not the fact that
Whoa,
What is the relatability factor, Alexis?
Yeah, because
What
he
do you
hired
find
black people in
relatable
his
about
movies,
this?
and he did not put them in the front. So I'll say, David Lynch do roles.
And then Nick is unhinged at the moment.
No, I think he's very hinged, Alexis. Where is the relatability?
Yeah.
Tell us, because I didn't see a fucking speck.
The film student in here.
beating women.
How is this relatable to the norms?
What was your question?
I want to ask the guy that actually he went to school. Like, how is this relatable to the normal people? Because Alexis is claiming that it's relatable to all of us. The guy that's his whole fucking.
I'm not saying it's relatable to us. Like, we can live. I'm just saying
You
that
legitimately
he.
verbatim said
No. I'm saying that
He said he's a guy
Jeffrey,
like us.
I'm saying he's like us.
Yeah.
He's just a regular dude until he starts going into this weird journey and he starts seeing this weird shit and doing weird shit.
But I think
because he doesn't start off as this weird guy. He's changed by the things that he sees.
he was a pretty weird dude from the beginning.
No, but that's also the other thing is it's already in you. Like I'll be honest, man. I think we're all perverts, aren't we? We're a little weird.
We can say a little weird.
I was gonna say, you stick to weird.
We can say
Are we?
weird.
I mean,
I don't know about pervert, but weird, yeah.
yeah, you're gonna miss me with that, bro.
Japanese
Those are the
really
Japanese
come-
genes talking, bro.
You guys
Jesus
don't
Christ.
watch the same videos I do?
Oh my god.
Oh, shit.
Hey, bro.
He's like, wait, you guys, when
Remember-
you're on a public train, you know,
Right.
you don't do the...
You don't do the
Remember,
picture.
remember when they had to put the clicking sound on the
Yeah.
cameras nationwide just because of, what you guys got going on over there?
He's like, come on.
So then maybe we're not perverts, but we're at least
That's like
at
the
least
worst choice of words you could have used. Jesus
at least we can
Christ.
say that we're curious people.
I would
A
say,
little weird,
I
a
think
little curious,
maybe what
yeah.
you're saying is we have primal instincts. Like
That's
as
exactly,
humans,
yeah.
we're all primal, right? It's
Exactly.
encoded in our DNA. There are certain urges that people have, just as humans, right?
Okay, because
But
all right,
that is completely different.
let me bring something up. All right, we're watching the movie. Jeffrey is in Dorothy's house in her apartment. He's in the closet watching her get naked, this and that. You guys are watching. You guys are watching the movie.
You made me.
No. But I'm saying you had a choice to close your fucking eyes or leave the room. So did you and you, but you didn't do that. You kept watching the movie.
See, but look, there's a difference.
It's just for science.
We didn't know what was gonna happen next, right?
So
We don't know if she was gonna get naked. For all we know, she could just take it off.
says the one that's like, oh, where's the titty? Where's the titty? Says the one. Says the one's like, well, I don't see no titty. I ain't watching.
He's on defensive now.
Yeah, he's like, no, I mean, I get your point, and like, they're like, look, I'll say we're all weird, and that obviously, like,
Yeah,
like,
I think maybe perverts was too.
and
too
primal
strong.
was good too. It's like, which one of us is
Yeah.
not like a sexual?
I know you
scene
guys.
where he's kissing.
I know you guys. You guys are
Jeffrey
all
with
fucking
lipstick
perverts.
10 times.
Did we go to one of Diddy's
Yeah.
parties? Maybe.
Maybe it won't. I won't confirm it until it's confirmed.
Yeah.
But like that's
No
what
more
I'm
parties
saying.
in LA, dude. That's why.
It's like Jeffrey is in there doing something wrong, but he can't look away, and he's staying, even though it gets weirder and weirder and weirder.
See,
you know?
but a normal person would have had at one point or another is like, when is enough? Like,
Right.
as a normal person, we have okay, is this like we have, I guess, certain things ingrained into ourselves. That's what separates us from being weird, from being perverts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you could also make the argument like he's in a closet and he's so close to getting caught, so he's keeping like vigilant. And he's also kind of like, fuck,
And-
like I don't want her to see
Yeah.
me, so
100%.
he has to stay.
I mean, and clearly he's a weirdo because he went to her apartment like
that's also
something.
fucking
yeah.
crazy.
He has some sort of like thing about him that he feels like he has to solve.
And even in that time, right, he found the fucking ear in the forest, right? He was walking around in a fucking empty ass forest, and you find an ear. I'm not gonna fucking pick that shit up, even if it was the 1960s.
Yeah, I'm just gonna jizz on it.
Also, that's where
You're really fucking up the audio.
This guy, we're not fucking perverts. This guy over here.
Jesus Christ. But also,
he's proving my
for
point.
most fucking teenagers, apparently this guy was a fucking teenager.
No,
that's where it ends.
He was a fucking
that was a grown ass man. Whatever.
Right.
That's where it ends. You pick up the ear and you're like, this is it. That's all it came up to.
No, and you're totally right. But then this thing escalates because this guy can't let go of that morbid curiosity of where is this going to lead me next.
Yeah, he feels like he has to be the one to help
a
solve
normal
it.
person wouldn't go to those extremes. They would be like, okay, I found an ear. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to remember where the fuck it's at. I'm going to call the police. Come back. That's even if it doesn't matter what age you're in.
Yeah.
That's the rational fucking
No, and that's fine. But I think we're kind of losing track because it's not about whether a normal person would do this or not. It's about this kid's journey.
Well, I think Alexis has a valid point. Lynch does take you through a journey, through this normal kid that eventually goes down a wrong path, and then it just as easily could be him becoming, what's the fucking
Frank.
degenerate?
Yeah.
Frank.
He could become something
because
like that.
Frank, literally, same thing. He just went down the wrong path. All of a sudden, now he's like into some weird shit. He's also hanging with the wrong people. He's fucking off the rails on cocaine.
But Frank,
it could have just as easily been him.
No. Because I think Frank had something. You can, with Frank, you can tell he's had some abuse as a kid. Not like
but that's exactly that kid got abused by that lady because it's a cycle. I know, and then but just as easily he could have liked it and then became the abuser or a victim down the road.
The difference between Frank
Good one, George.
and what's the main character's name?
Jeffrey
is that Frank, you could tell, has some like trauma as a kid, and fucking Jeffrey just looked like he lived a fucking very normal, boring ass fucking life in the Midwest. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna venture out, and he went way too fucking deep, way too fucking fast.
Exactly.
No, but that's the whole. I think that's the whole thing that Alexis is trying to say, and that Lynch was trying to depict. And I can see that, but even then, I'm kind of like, I don't agree. Yeah. It's not that simple. You're not just having 2 or 3 fucking interactions like that, and then now you're a fucking drug addict.
Clearly, Jeffrey wants something like this, but I think he thinks that he's gonna be safe the further he goes. But obviously, he isn't safe because he reaches a breaking point when he meets Frank. And they take him out, and he thinks he's gonna die at some point, and he just sees this like weird, sick world, and then there's that scene where he's back home, in his room, and he's breaking down and crying. Like that's a normal reaction, I think, to all that's happened.
And also, there's a parallel between the high school girl and then
this older
because he just as easily could fall for her because she brings something new and erotic and different.
Exactly.
And then you have the girl that's like goody two shoes, like she's still.
And there's a lot of this or that, like you said, the innocent girl, the not so innocent girl, the normal life, the Frank life.
It's interesting to see too. Like I hate to say it, but like the idea of like how like naive she is. Being so young in the sense of she's like, I forgive you, I love you, no matter what, who cares?
She dead ass left her boyfriend too.
Yeah, she left her boyfriend, and she's like, I feel like women in particular go through like that thing where when they're so young, they end up with assholes who will just walk all over them and like treat them like shit, and then it unfortunately like just, I mean, you have no choice but to grow some sort of thick skin or shell and just be like, I'll never let another person talk to me or treat me that way.
What George did in his 20s.
Exactly. And then
he is in his 20s.
And then you end up with
still doing it.
Allegedly.
And then you keep going, and you end up with someone like what was her name again?
Dorothy.
We should have brushed up on the names. I'm it's been a week, viewers. It's been a week.
Yeah.
Sorry, Frank's the bad guy. Jeffrey's the main kid. Dorothy's the
Blue Velvet singer.
Yeah, blue. And then I forgot Laura Dern's character.
The important thing is that we know what the fuck happened in this movie.
That's the important thing.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, at least it's not like Lost Highway where we had to fucking read some Spark Notes and dive deep into what.
Don't be saying that. That's how we lose viewers.
Hey, we're normal too, guys. We don't understand everything one go.
Yeah. So this is.
We gotta come out as sophisticated.
We're very sophisticated.
We're not movie snobs, guys.
We're not perverts. We're just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like we wear director's hats with like coffee and like
right. No underwear though.
No underwear.
I kind of want to ask, what is the most uncomfortable scene in the movie for you guys?
I don't think it was uncomfortable. It was just bad. Like it was just the execution, and like you know what, like
I mean, like there's weird scenes like where Frank puts on makeup and like lipstick, and he just tries to forcefully kiss him. Like, I was just like, what the fuck does that even? Is that a power play?
I remember having to rewatch that scene multiple times because I could never finish the movie after watching that.
He couldn't finish. He just had to keep watching it.
The scene was too short,
and
yeah. It's like I didn't have to rewind it 10 times.
Now Nick's proud as fat, but he got the job done.
Hey, shit, dude. A win is a win.
But yeah, again, a lot of it has to do with execution of how he did stuff. Again, the topics I don't think were too crazy, even for the 80s when he did this movie. Like you could touch on all that stuff. I think it just wasn't. There was like zero class, zero like fucking.
What do you mean class?
Yeah, I think I agree.
What do you mean by class?
With this,
like as a filmmaker at that point, he still didn't have like sophistication to like the reasoning. Like there wasn't like any like
you just feel like it was just inserted to
it was just inserted. It just like what point did he did again like the lipstick, like what point did that fucking play to the overall like scheme of the movie? It just showed that it just illustrated more of the fact that the guy was a little deranged and it obviously had some fucking issue. But that was already preset from the way that he treated his girlfriend, because he had kid, like that was all that stuff was already in there weird.
I think there's sorry, I was gonna say I think there's extreme examples where this works well. Like, I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Tarantino movies, there's extreme gore and violence, and a lot of times it serves a purpose and it's done well. Another example, Oldboy. We recently watched that. The scene where he's cutting off his own tongue, and it's graphic, it's gritty, and it's like violent, but it serves a purpose. He's in agony. He's in such disgust.
There's a lead up to done.
Yeah, that it serves a purpose. This is just blatant, like thrown out there, and not. It doesn't. Like it's too in your face, and it doesn't serve a purpose.
Like Frank's character just felt like it just kept, like all the characters felt like they were one upping each other from whatever was happening until the point where either they died or they knew that they no longer wanted to do it, and they wanted to not do it like probably midway from them one upping themselves. So it just felt very tasteless a lot of the time. It felt like, fuck, dude, okay, I get it. What are you trying to else illustrate? There's nothing else besides. It made it, instead of being a movie that had a lot of thought, a lot of depth into it, it made it seem very above the surface. It made it like unless you're really into this genre, which whatever.
Clearly, right? Lexus is just like a pervert.
Like we all are.
Sorry,
like whatever, right? But like it like the necessity for it wasn't called for. I feel like the movie's tone wasn't.
Yeah, it's interesting because when the movie came out, it was very controversial, obviously because of those scenes with Dorothy.
Men kissing.
Right? Oh. And I think
that was the only issue.
That's probably
like there was homosexuality.
I don't like that you're showing what I do with my wife at home.
But also, I think the scenes with Dennis Hopper, where it's a very weird character that I don't think I've seen in another movie. Yeah. Where he's just very like balls to the wall. I don't know what he's doing, why he's doing it, but he's just this like living embodiment of fucking rage and randomness and anarchy. You know? And so I think these characters aren't supposed to be like in a regular, film, like in a regular narrative story. I think they function in a very different way where, I don't know, I guess I could compare it to like, when you see a painting, right? Like there is no story being told, but you get reactions by seeing certain colors, certain landscape. Like I don't think he's creating a regular movie here. I think it's like just a weird.
So it's all mood. Very deliberate and intentional.
I think it's a mood that he's trying to, or an atmosphere that he's trying to
like
create.
Let the audience fill in.
I think it's a very like. Again, it's a very classless way of trying to create atmosphere, especially like again, it's just even if you're a fucking psychopath or a crazy person, there's still some type of fucking reasoning for the reason for what you're doing.
That's not true.
Yeah, I mean, kind of by definition, there really is.
Not by definition, but like there's certain like okay, like if I know this character is gonna do this, is because this ticked them off. There's some type of reasoning for the reason why they did that. I'm not saying their reasons for doing it are logical.
Right.
I think that's two different things. In this case, it just seemed like it was illogical and no reasoning behind the actions of Frank as a whole.
I think, Frank was the only illogical character in the film, wasn't he? Like, do you feel like you understood where everyone else was coming from?
Yeah.
No. The girl, the teen, she didn't act like.
No, I think she acted like a teen girl, in my opinion. But what I was gonna say was, is like maybe. there's a whole lot of like, you know, I was trying to think about like other movies for a second, because my point that I was gonna make was the idea of like shit not making sense. But you look at Lost Highway and some of his other films, it's like some things are just like, you're not supposed to know what the reasoning for it is, but I feel like it ties in a little bit better. Like, even the scene I was telling you was like the scene with Ben, where Ben is like singing along to a song, and they're finding out like, they're like, oh, go let her see her kid, go let Dorothy see her kid, and like he's just like, I love Ben, this fucking guy is great, and all this other stuff, right? Like, it was, again, the kind of like Isaac was saying, shock factor, just watching him like in another derailed state with other derailed people. Like, it didn't really, in my opinion, help. Like, it was cool and it was fun and it was like interesting, but like when I think of like Lost Highway, all of the crazier scenes, I feel like really did impact the story. Like, if you would have removed a lot of that and just shown him like angry saying, hey Ben, and then be like, go let Dorothy see her kid, and then like them mess with Jeffrey a little bit, and then they leave right away, and none of the singing, none of the other stuff, wouldn't have changed the film at all for me. It wouldn't have done any different. Ben's introduction as a weird character who did his own things was just like, I don't want to say useless in a mean way, but like useless in like, it didn't really add to Frank's story, in my opinion.
I feel like it did add to Frank. I think you see a strange side of him where he's being soothed by Ben as he's singing, and the way you know, the scene with Ben is framed, it's kind of like, it's odd but sort of angelic with the lights, and you know, he's very like he's not actually singing, but he's lip singing, and there's something nice about it to me. And then as you see Frank kind of like, wow, like just like being stuck in like you see a different angle of Frank where he's not this crazy, you know, psycho.
But I felt like I disagree. I think he was still crazy. I think it's kind of like when you like they have those fucking ADHD jokes where they're just like, oh, back rooms, and like jingling keys to try to get someone's attention when they have ADHD. It's like similar to that. It's like, I got to do something a little crazy to like get you down to earth and like back to regular. Right. And I felt like they already showed so much of his crazy side. So for me, I think maybe it was just a little implied.
Maybe what I connected that scene to is that the chick was a singer too, and then also he has obviously like attachment issues with like his mother potentially. So he has mommy issues where he likes talking to her like he's a baby, all that, and then the motherly, you know, person that sings, that's also an attribute that he would potentially like calm him down and make him feel good. So she's an actress, I mean, she's a singer, she does that, so him doing that, it's a clear depiction like, oh yeah, there's that connection. That's what it is.
Maybe that's like a father type figure to him. I mean, obviously it's not explicit
I don't
in the
know
film,
if it's just mommy issues. It could be parental issues.
You could interpret it many different ways. Yeah, but
that's the only connection I saw. But yeah, I mean, those scenes with all those other demented people, those are very, you know, realistic of what most junkies and degenerates are like. Like literally, it's spot on.
And
that's how crazy and unhinged people act.
Like they're not all like some of them they're all old, which was interesting. We were talking about that, but they look normal. Like, I feel like nowadays movies sometimes try to fucking like say like everyone's got to look like, you know, a crack addict who's been at it for 20 years.
No,
not
it's
like
crazy, dude.
Just
I know like people and like people personally, like not like I know them, but that have been affected by like family members or stuff that are like that, and they're really completely normal people for the most part because they're highly functioning addicts. But that doesn't take away from the fact that they're addicts and that they do crazy unhinged shit typically when they're high. But most of the time, they're normal people, which is fucking crazy to think about unless you know addicts that are struggling through that. They're literally, it's crazy. Sometimes you won't even know people are high, like, or they're at that stage, which is insane. It's like there's highly functioning people that are like that. So it is very realistic.
Nick is high.
Yeah.
On pot news.
God damn it.
On pot news.
No, yeah. But, I mean, overall.
Yeah. I kind of, want to bring up this idea too, because we've seen Lost Highway, and Lost Highway was very dreamlike, very strange, and I think that's a more like established or defined vision that David Lynch did, and I think Blue Velvet is a bit messier, but in some ways this feels like a nightmare too. This is these are weird things happening that don't make any sense. Strange things happening in the background, and Jeffrey is just kind of like just there, speechless. He doesn't really do much or say much. He doesn't really do anything until later when he actually punches Frank. And then I think that's where he does the lipstick thing, right? After that.
Yeah, it was in the car where he punches Frank, and then Frank takes him out, and he's like, "Oh, you want me to?" He pulls out a switch knife. Right. He's like, "I'm gonna kill you," and then he starts making out with him.
Yeah.
Weird, but
it's like a weird
not
power
my proudest
thing.
fat, but not my least.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to know what the least is.
Yeah. Now I don't think I'm like able to convince you guys to enjoy the film anymore. But I think it's interesting comparing it to Lost Highway though.
Now, since you appreciate the movie, what do you like? What brings you to this movie? Like, what are some of the interesting? What are the highlights? Because we, again, for all we know, we're looking at it at a very above the surface point of view. What changes this movie into?
I think you guys are just looking at the movie as best as you guys can probably relate to. Okay. Like maybe
you dumb fucks aren't smart enough
to
understand.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
He's like, look, I mean, with your level of IQ, I think that the problem isn't the movie. I think it's just your understanding of things.
No, like I actually, I had a feeling that you guys were gonna not like this movie. Because I do think it's messy. I do think it shows things a little too viscerally. Like it's too in your face.
But I like messy. Like I fuck with Lost. I fucked with
Lost.
Lost
the show Lost. Yeah.
I fucked with Lost Highway. I like you know what it is?
Just all the Lost stuff.
Well, no. Yeah, anything Lost.
Lost.
Yeah. Lost in translation.
Lost in space.
Yeah. Lost my publicity card.
Yeah. But no. Like I think for me it's just like, when you think about like something like Lost, where it's like, oh, we're gonna not give you a lot and then wrap up towards the end of a season.
Wait, shut the fuck up! I started.
I'm saying we're not gonna give you a lot, but towards the end of a season or series, we're gonna wrap up stuff, right? Or you think about Lost Highway, where it's like everything is really weird, and I'm gonna make you interpret it however you do, but it's so like, I felt like there was a flow. Like it starts off normal movie, gets a little weirder, and then it just like goes balls off the walls. Versus this one was like, normal, weird, normal, weird, normal. Like it kept coming back, which I get that whole purpose of like, I'm going to show you that this isn't just like a weird supernatural thing. It's like what's happening to a real kid or a real person and could happen to any one of us with a psychopath in our lives. I get it. But I just don't feel like it's the best example of like a psychopath. I feel like this is like Joker would have been a better version of that, like a psychopath in real life, you know? And with amongst everything, versus like you have other movies like Lost Highway, which would be like Joker in a universe like with other superheroes and villains, right? Where it's like it's just weird and wacky and everything, like no rules apply. This is like trying to be a mix of both, and it wasn't bad. I enjoyed this film, but I didn't execute as best as it could. Which, to be fair, it's still early David Lynch, so he tried his best. I can't knock him for trying.
And actually, nowadays people actually look back to this film and they really appreciate what he was trying to do, because there are a lot of seeds of what he would do later in his career.
Female abuse.
Right. Lots of that. But I kind of gravitate towards it because I like a lot of like the visuals, the imagery that like I don't see things like this in other movies. And not that I want to see, but it's just like I have that kind of curiosity where I know this is kind of weird, but I want to keep watching. And ultimately, it's, Frank is like such a weird character. And actually, I think his death scene was pretty intense. Like the way he got that bullet through the head.
Blows up.
That was a crazy.
Yeah, and even just watching the other cop like standing while being kind of pseudo dead.
Yeah, like with his brain really coming out. Yeah.
But I don't. Again, those parts are fine. Again, it comes back to just a storytelling perspective,
right?
And what he could have done just better,
yeah.
And again, this is like one of his first movies,
and I don't disagree with you. I do think it's it's not perfect.
We don't necessarily disagree with you. It's just like, again, this movie is an interesting watch. It's not complete. It's not a complete waste of time, but it does have its flaws. And if we're not like going to talk about its flaws,
right?
Then like, what are we just going to be like happy go lucky and say every movie's good?
No, absolutely.
And we try to give our viewers a kind of an insight the way we see movies, and and we try to make sure that it's a little bit relatable to them. Like if Like, we don't know who the fuck's listening out there right now, and we don't know. So we got to tell you guys, okay, this is, if you're a normal person, you're not gonna like this fucking movie. But if you're a little bit on the wackier side, you might like, you don't want to see something that's not off the beaten off road, and it does have its flaws, but you still might enjoy it. Watch the movie, you know, like
and like I was saying earlier, I think a lot of people can either connect or not connect with it, and I'm kind of thinking now, like I feel like I've seen some things when I was younger that kind of relate to some of the things that we've seen in this movie. Like obviously not as graphic or as like crazy, but there are things that I saw when I was too young that like it's like, oh, okay, this is kind of like similar to that. And
how many closets did you sit in?
Too many.
Every time he came over for a sleepover, he just kept saying, he's like, I'm gonna go to the restroom, and then he'd walk in the closet and close the door and just wait. And I was just like,
yeah. But there's this interesting thing where I guess the scene in the end where, you know, Dorothy comes out like nude, like beaten up and all that.
I was midway through the movie.
No, that was towards the end.
That was towards the end. It was when, remember, like
when the guys want to beat up Jeffrey.
It was at Jeffrey's house.
Yeah, I still felt like that was kind of like more towards the midway.
It was at the climax of the movie. Yeah. So like we still had like another 10-15 minutes left.
Yeah, but that is something that happened to David Lynch when he was younger. Him and his brother went out and they saw this random naked woman like come out from their neighborhood, and I guess that image kind of stayed in his mind, and so I don't know if that helped him create this story leading up to that in this film, but like there's a connection there, you know, like there is.
See, but again, that part isn't bad. It's like he doesn't have bad settings.
I'm not saying that to convince you that it's good. I'm just saying that there are things that led up to this. You know?
And I get that. I'm just saying, like, just man, like it was just some of the stuff that, you know. And I get it. Maybe I'm just beating a dead horse right now, but just execution. Like I don't think necessarily what he was trying to show was bad. I don't think the topics were even too outlandish. And obviously in today, when it came out,
I think the themes were good.
Yeah,
you know, the in between.
I think I'll say that this is like a house that has really good bones. Mm-hmm. Like if you were to remake this movie with like, I think with like a good budget, right? And
you know, let's say $100 million budget. I think make it a summer release, directed by I don't know, Michael Bay maybe.
No, I think $50 million, right? Explosions.
Explosions.
Cock
it's just
explosions.
one explosion.
There's one explosion. No, but
it's in his pants.
But I think if this movie is like, hey, if you get like the same theme, you remake it and you really put some forethought into the characters. Foreskin, you know, and I think you have like a good movie here.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's just one of those things which is very difficult to execute correctly because the themes and like topics are so heavy that sometimes you miss the mark. Like, I'll give you a perfect example of what I thought was a really good way of doing it. No, it was Jojo Rabbit.
I was gonna say Encino Man.
It's literally, you know, Jojo Rabbit is talking about themes of how there's kids that don't distinguish the difference between good and evil, and despite that, they're raised into like a certain society, and they literally can become little Nazis because they don't know any better. And then that film kind of depicts it in a way where it's like artistically done, and it portrays the image really well, and it kind of gives you, you know, a very good vantage point on the situation.
I like Jojo Rabbit, yeah.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people didn't.
It was great. I loved it. I thought it was masterfully done. It was also kind of a comedy and a satire, which is like...
People didn't like it because it showed Hitler as like this funny, you know, weird guy.
Oh, the Germans didn't like it?
I don't know.
All the neo-Nazis?
Germans were like, yes! They get it.
No, but see, that could have just easily has been like a horrible movie, like where it's just like, yo, this is too off the rails and fucking like comedic, and it's like not like serious at all.
Another great example too is Jordan Peele's movies. Like all of his have so much messages and like heavy tones and stuff like that about like what it is to be, you know, a person of color today, especially a black person today. And it's like it doesn't ruin it by any means. Like Get Out was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And like it's extremely like underlain with like racist
but you're on a fucking thin line, right? Like you're walking razor thin line because it's like
and you're just like and like some scenes that are like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even think about.
Or
that.
even like with fucking Tarantino and Pulp Fiction when they gimp fucking the gimp scene,
that was fucking crazy.
You know, it just again,
we all love the gimp.
Yeah. You love the Gimp.
We love the Gimp.
Alexis was a fan of the ball gag.
Let's go back to our Pulp Fiction episode, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, yeah. But,
Yeah.
I mean...
All right, anything else you want to talk about on this?
I'd say let's get on to the letterbox reviews.
Okay.
All right, so I did take your recommendations. It's not all just people that follow us. You know, some random people here too.
Ooh.
So, all right, you guys are gonna like this review. All right, this is by Mia, 2 stars. The aesthetic was nice and I liked the colors, but something deterred me from fully engaging with this piece of cinema. Found it boring and dull on the actual story side of things. Really wish a rewatch can do this movie justice, and I'll have to watch more Lynch to have a proper opinion on him. 2 stars. I think they're kind of saying the same thing you're saying.
But that's what's interesting is we're saying the opposite, and like we've watched enough Lynch to know he's better than this.
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying hopefully watching more Lynch will make me appreciate this more.
Right.
I see this as like possible with probably you feel like you appreciate it because you know what Lynch is capable of, and you know that like you're like, whoa, he did great for his 4th film.
He's like this. Like I'm gonna see his 8th film, and I see the fucking buildup. Like I see what he came out to be.
20 years of directing.
He couldn't have done that without Blue Velvet. And it's just like, no, but Blue Velvet...
It laid
Fuck
the
that movie.
groundwork.
I really think it did.
It did.
All right, that was a good one, Mia. Nice. All right, this one's by Mariana. 4.5 stars. Lynch's way of making movies isn't one of my favorites, but this one stood out. The places in this movie felt nostalgic, adding to the overall visually striking, ominous, and dark atmosphere. In fact, the visuals were my favorite thing, being so aesthetically pleasing. A nice and compelling dramatic mystery with an enthralling soundtrack. I don't remember the soundtrack that much.
I was gonna say I don't agree with much of that.
Yeah.
Like I thought this movie was pretty ugly compared to Lost Highway. Like overall, I mean, like literally the buildings that stuck out to me was a brick building. I know we kept saying like the stairs was pretty cool.
Stairs.
Like,
Isaac wanted to
shoot
take pictures of that.
like
Yeah.
shoot pictures off of that. Like, but yeah, like the apartment was like very old school and cool.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't. The
Nothing stood out for me.
even the
visually.
apartment of like the
Dorothy
was kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had like weird materials, even for the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
weird colors, and I
But
mean,
I-
obviously that was a choice.
It looked like he did it in a theater.
Yeah.
Too much Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it does give it a weird kind of look.
I
which
feel like
like
the only scenes that where it really kind of changed around was when Jeffrey was with Sandy. Like those scenes were a little bit more like
Sandy.
lively and a little bit better as far as like colors and peppiness, which kind of made sense for
Andre,
her character.
how much
But yeah.
how much does this movie cost to make?
$6 million.
Back in 86?
6 million
That's kind of a
was-
lot of money back in 86.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, what is that adjusted, you know?
Probably like 20, 25.
3.2 billion.
You said it this,
That's
this
$1
was
billion.
his second film?
This is his 4th film.
4th film? What did
So
he do before this?
he did Eraserhead, which took him like 5 years to make. Then he did Elephant Man. And then he did Dune, which flopped, which is really bad.
Did this movie
Dude, did
this
you
movie
see,
flop?
have you seen
So it made.
the old graphics for Dune?
Listen, on guy.
Wait, what?
So the producer, he made a deal with said, all right, you can have Final Cut, but you can only have $6 million. And it was like the smallest budget film in that producer's catalog for that year.
Yeah. So it seems like it did make some money, not a ton of money, obviously. I think even back then people weren't really like.
So wait, this was the director's cut? You're telling me this is what he
So
wanted?
he had 4 hours that he had to
All
trim.
creative control?
So he had 4 hours that he had to trim down to 2.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah. That's
damn.
I'd love to see the.
That's why this
Hours?
dude just randomly was like, "Mommy," and it's just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay."
yeah, there's like no backstory in any of the characters.
Then I started
either.
blasting.
They
See,
just
maybe if it was a
Right.
4-hour film,
Maybe
it-
there's
it
a
would've
reason why
made
he
more
said
sense.
fuck Heineken.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right, next one. This is by, I don't even know how to say this. 1SM4R4, 4 stars. The Freudian meanings. The psychosexual and disturbing essence of this movie that captivates you. The way David Lynch uses music. A unique masterpiece.
Dude, what the fuck? Did we not pay attention to this music? Like,
I know.
I
I mean,
like-
I like the composer. I
It
like
didn't
his stuff.
stand out to
it
me,
was
to
just,
be
they kept
honest.
singing Blue Velvet in just different fonts.
Yeah. All right, this is the last one by a person named Bronwyn. 5 stars. I think PBR is better than Heineken, and I also enjoy listening to.
You
Oh,
fucking
God.
lost me there, bro.
He's like an Alexis. He's a
Fucking loser.
pervert.
They say, "Should I be
Jesus
worried?"
Christ.
I don't think I'd fuck
People-
anything that moved though. Anyway, this movie rocks. 5 stars.
Yeah, no. Thank you, buddy, but but PBRs.
PBRs are
PBRs,
just
yeah.
that's,
I've never
that's where you
had
lost
PBR.
No.
What
You don't
what does
need
it
one.
taste like?
like LA water.
LA water, like with piss or without piss?
Bro,
No,
it's
piss would
LA.
be better.
It's obvious.
I've had
All
Heineken.
LA water has
Yeah,
piss.
Yeah.
Heineken, I don't like either, to be honest.
That's like a light.
It's
It's like light beer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
I'll take a Heineken over PB
Yeah.
any day.
I'm just curious. What are your final thoughts on this film?
1 through 10.
Give me 1 through 10, and then maybe even compared to Lost Highway, just for a brief
Okay,
second.
1 through 10, I give it 4.
Okay, 4 out of 10.
4. And I definitely do see a lot of aspects of what he did in Lost Highway. And again, Lost Highway is a much more refined version of this movie. And this movie had a lot of good bones. And I think that the topics that to me didn't seem too outlandish. Again, it comes back to execution. And we see that David Lynch gets a little bit better with his
A
execution.
little bit. You get much better.
Much better. I'll give him that.
Okay.
Right? He gets much
Yeah.
better by the time he comes around to do Lost Highway.
Yeah. I feel like I could rewatch Lost Highway more than I could rewatch Blue Velvet.
Oh no, for
Absolutely.
sure, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
and
no,
again,
definitely.
this Blue Velvet, if I watched it every 10 years, I think
It'd be too much.
it'd be too much. I'm like,
Mommy.
Kind of want to watch Dune now to see how fucking.
I've never seen this
demented that
Dune.
is.
I've never seen it.
imagine we love it.
I've
Like,
seen
it's-
snippets
Yeah.
of it and the shield. You know the vibrating shield thing that they have.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid.
Really?
They looks like pentagons and squares,
Yeah.
and like the CGI they use is
Are we talking about
horrendous.
Doom with
Here,
the Rock?
let me pull this up, dude.
No, Dune.
Oh, the original.
Jeez, I don't get
You were Doom? You thought we were talking about Doom?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, that movie did flop though.
Usul.
Dune, bro. It's
So
nobody knows how to make realistic fucking video game movies.
it's sad
Or
because
shows.
when he made Dune, I guess
Except for Fallout.
he didn't have director's cut, which is why he had director's cut for this movie and
The
all
Last
the
of Us
other
as well.
other films from then. But it flopped so bad it kind of broke him. It broke him.
What's his? What's David Lynch's like the movie he's known for?
Mulholland Drive.
Have we seen it?
You saw it. It's the ones with the girls in L.A.
Oh, okay, yeah, that one's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Look at this. Look at these shields. That's the CGI.
Oh, that's bad.
That's fucking.
Well, I mean, this is
I don't
the
even know what that
this is
is.
the 80s.
Yikes.
Bro, you just.
All right, George, give me your opinion.
4.5. I didn't like it. Very graphic. The themes were good. I didn't like the way he executed on them, and then also it was just so outlandish and out there,
Yeah.
and the connections didn't really.
It's the nudity.
Work for-
That's why you don't like it. All right, Nick.
No, just in general.
Go for it.
4.5.
Yeah.
Lynch has done better. Lost Highway though, I love that.
Yeah.
It was good. You explored the characters.
I
and
think
development.
arguably his
A lot
best
better.
movie.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Actually, I haven't seen all the Lynch ones to say that, but so far,
His
Lost Highway was my
Lost
favorite.
Highway.
He only has like 20 movies he's made.
I wish
Yeah,
he's
you
only
know.
got like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
He hasn't done much.
Well, for me, I'd have to give this one I was gonna say 5.5, but I'm gonna round up to a 6.
Wow.
I feel
What
like
the fuck, Nick? You can't just be giving 0.5s away like that.
I give
You're
0.5.
better than
Just
that.
like
You know
that.
what? The reason why I want to give this a little bit more is because, like I said, it did a really good portrayal of like trauma and like PTSD and like shit that people go through. So I respect that, especially from an early film, because even film nowadays, like people, the amount of times like you watch a fucking action film and it's just like, oh my god, they just killed all of my family. All I need is a hug from the protagonist and I'm better. And it's like there's no fucking like repercussions of like the shit people go through. It's annoying. Like life is way more hard than that, and people go through a lot of shit, and people end up like Dorothy, and not enough movies show that. So I really liked the real portrayal of that. Like I said, I didn't think it was a visual stunning movie or like the soundtrack. I don't know. I guess everybody else heard something we didn't really hear.
I missed it.
But
The soundtrack
it was
to Lost Highway was great.
yeah, it was
great.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rammstein.
Rammstein.
But like I said, everything else, like I didn't really hate on this movie, but it didn't impact me as much as Lost Highway. So I think a solid 6.
I appreciate it. That's an honest review right there. I'll give it like a 7.5 just because I think I connect to certain things. Like there are, I like Nick said, I appreciate that it shows that kind of weird, demented side of our world because it's not, people aren't comfortable seeing it, people aren't comfortable showing it, and so I appreciate it here. Not that this is a movie that I like to rewatch or anything because it is uncomfortable for me, but yeah, I like his vision.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess if we add it all together,
it's like a 5.
So we give it a 5.5. The 4 guys give it a 5.5.
Yeah, one of our lowest.
Alexis sounds fucking. He's like,
he's
God
getting shocked. He's
damn
like,
it.
wow, this is one of our lowest for
And he just
sure.
got
He's
reamed
like,
the
this
whole
is one of
time.
his favorites, dude.
It's not one of my favorites, but now I have to go and tell David Lynch that people didn't like his movie.
Yeah, you personally.
I personally have to go and tell
Go
him.
to a Q&A and yell at him.
You
Yeah.
fucking suck.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, did you know that the 4 Guys One Film Gang gave you a 5.5? I'm sorry.
Who?
Okay.
Dude, you know, if one day we actually get like a famous director, just like really reach out to us, he's like, I heard you guys' fucking review.
Right.
How fucking
Fuck
dare
you guys.
He's like, fuck you.
Bro, you think
You know,
directors
David
are going to go fucking...
David Lynch was that one guy who left us a TikTok response.
You know
The
what?
most boring conversation in the world.
You know what though? He was listening to Ramstein in the early '80s. That's a little weird, man.
Yeah.
We should just like start hitting up like... Not like big producers or directors, but just anyone in the industry that's low level.
Yeah.
And then we
yeah.
just roast them for movies we don't like.
Actually, I met a producer who worked with David Lynch back when he was starting off. He's actually he's an investor in a place that I work.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyways,
maybe we get him on the pod.
Yeah, he co-created Showtime.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Dude, the secrets you could tell us.
I know, dude. He was telling me some shit. But anyways,
Why can't we need to start having guests on this fucking show?
line them up.
Dude, we can...
You're gonna have to cut most of this out.
Yeah. But anyways, if you like this episode, if you didn't like it, let us know. We're 4 Guys One Film anywhere, pretty much. Yeah. No one's taken our name. Like, it's just we've claimed it all.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of...
we should legally copyright it. Do we even need to at this point? Actually,
No, it's like
fair use now, right?
No,
that's how people get screwed down the road, where it's like you never copyrighted it, and then someone takes it, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
They're licensed merchant.
It's like with the fucking guy that like didn't Taylor Swift didn't copyright her own name on YouTube, and like somebody just one day decided to make a YouTube channel on Taylor Swift and just literally put all her music and then collected millions of dollars of her revenue.
Wow.
Like pretty much in a couple of months until like the Taylor Swift team found out like, oh shit, we do not have ownership of our own name on YouTube, and this dick has been collecting all. That's
crazy.
He literally made millions.
There's people that make a living off shit like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, they'll make like Twitter accounts like as fast as possible.
Handles, all sorts of shit, and then they're like, all right, I bet on this person winning. Now they win. Now pay up.
Yeah, you have to
like,
sell me the fucking rights to the account.
Fuck, I need to start doing that.
That guy's like, he made fucking money because it was a couple of months where he was just collecting Taylor Swift money, and then Taylor Swift bought
it happens to all sorts of companies, which is crazy. It happened to Google one time because they forgot to rebuy their domain, and then this guy saw it for sale and bought it for like yeah. But then I don't know, did they end up ever like giving him money? I don't know if he just gave it back. I forgot.
No, I think Google ended up just suing, like real fucking hard. Yeah, like
crazy.
Yeah, but you can find.
Look, Alexis, choose a better movie. Maybe we'll talk only movie talk. All right.
Hey man, we chose Masters of Disguise. Okay.
The best movie.
The best movie.
My god.
And your opinion was pretty shit in that one.
Look, I can't believe people still keep downloading that, watching it.
It's a hot one.
Apparently, there's so many fans out there for it, and I fucking hate it. Yeah. And you too, and you for liking that. You guys are the worst.
Dude, I remember watching this shit.
You're also a pedophile,
Video
just
Sky.
like...
I had the big ass poster.
No, don't put me in the same circle with Alexis. Okay.
All right. Well, this was 4 Guys, One Film.